Entitled mother broke up my engagement just by being rude. My girlfriend and I were really ready to be engaged. We'd both agreed we wanted to get married, but I hadn't done the formal proposal yet because we wanted to meet each other's families first. I always thought the old trope about meeting the in-laws being a big fiasco was a myth, both because I was younger and more naive then and because I'm lucky to have easy parents. My girlfriend met them for a few hours. Once we were alone, just me and them. I told them my intentions and my mom asked, "Does she have any kids already?" And my dad asked, "Does she have a good solid job?" And they both asked, "You really love her?" And that was that. I had their full support for the marriage. I thought meeting her parents would be the same. Some grilling was to be expected, but as long as I was honest and respectful, it would all be fine. They had my girlfriend when they were teenagers, by surprise, so now they had another baby that they called a do-over daughter who was just 6 years old and who they wanted to raise properly. My girlfriend and I made the trip up to their city and I met them for the first time over dinner at a steakhouse. It was pretty upscale and we'd scheduled the dinner for 8 p.m., so I was surprised to see they'd brought the kid along with them. I met everyone at once and the initial awkwardness settled once we sat down. We were making great small talk when the 6-year-old said she was thirsty. No big deal, right? Well, all of a sudden, her mother Ellen starts screaming, "Water? Water? Water?" A waiter came rushing over to see what the commotion was and, without even making eye contact with the poor guy, Ellen went, "We've been here forever and no one's even gotten us any water. My daughter's been asking." We had been sitting for about 15 or 20 minutes without service, but they were visibly behind, and there were no circumstances that would have warranted that shouting. I should have realized from how unfazed everyone else at the table was that I should be bracing myself for a long night, but I couldn't imagine what was to come at that point. The waiter rushed over with water and apologized for the delay, explaining a few very large parties had arrived all at once. The guy seemed sincere and quite affable, so I thought the water would just be an anomaly in an otherwise pleasant night. Then Ellen kicked into full gear. "We'll need a kids menu," she informed the waiter. He said that they didn't have a kids menu, but that the chef could simplify most dishes. "What do you mean you don't have a kids menu?" Ellen replied in total disbelief, as though he'd said they didn't have a fire exit. He explained they didn't get too many child visitors and that there were enough plain foods on the menu that no separate menu had ever been necessary. Ellen sighed dramatically and waved him away. I tried to give him an apologetic glance, but understandably he didn't look back our way. I was so glad the poor guy left and didn't have to be subjected to her anymore. Meanwhile she turned her attention on me, and I almost wished he'd come back. At least he was getting paid to be here. She was like, "So you're a screenwriter?" And I explained, "Well, yes and no. I want to be, but it's hard to get a job in that field that you can support yourself in, so I'm working at a non-profit right now. There's a screenwriting component to the job though, so I'm really happy there." Ellen turned to her 6-year-old and went, "Hear that, hon? You want to be sure to snag a man who works for profit. Learn from this. It's not too late for you." I couldn't tell if she was trying to be funny or not, so I just let it pass, looking over to my girlfriend to see if she was even considering speaking up on my behalf. Nope. The waiter came back, visibly nervous. That hurt because he was so relaxed and personable at the start of the meal. He asked if we'd like to hear the specials before we ordered and Ellen said sure. The waiter started saying, "First we have a lightly seared strip sweet." Ellen just shouted next. The waiter, "Oh. Okay. Then we have a broiled leg of grass-fed." Ellen, next. And on until he'd gone through all 7 or 10 specials, even though she ultimately ordered off the menu, a plain ribeye, well done. She tried to order her daughter the same, but the kid said she just wanted plain mashed potatoes, so Ellen let her get mashed potatoes alone for dinner. After her order, she sent the waiter away. The rest of us hadn't even ordered yet. And everyone else just sat there like it was entirely normal. I waited for someone to say something, thinking it was more my girlfriend's place or her husband's, but when no one did I couldn't help myself. Was the one steak and potatoes going to be for all of us, or? My girlfriend explained, in the tone you'd use for a tourist violating a sacred local taboo, "My mom always has the waiter put the kids' food in first, so it can get started right away. We'll order once the kitchen has hers." I thought she was joking, since Ellen didn't just order her kids' food, she also ordered her own dinner, so I laughed. "Something funny?" Ellen asked. Then I realized she was serious and I shut up. Thankfully her dad at least recognized that what was normal for them might not be as regular to me and tried to lighten the mood with a change of topic. But not even 10 minutes after we'd ordered, Ellen started in again. Another table that had been there long before we got a side order of mashed potatoes with their meal. Ellen threw a total conniption. She was sputtering so inaudibly that none of us could figure out what was wrong at first. Finally she managed to flag down some busboy who barely spoke English and began laying into him like he'd just sideswiped her on the freeway. He kept trying to explain he wasn't a server and he could go get one, but she wouldn't stop to breath long enough for him to find someone who could actually help. All the while I kept looking at my girlfriend for signs of embarrassment, or at the very least irritation, but you wouldn't have known if she was even hearing any of this. Our waiter came over, somehow still feigning a smile despite knowing what he was walking into, and Ellen actually goes, "Why did that table get mashed potatoes and ours haven't come yet?" The waiter kindly but concisely explained, "Well ma'am, those people ordered potatoes before your party had placed their order." Ellen looks this man dead in the eye and says, "Well, it doesn't matter when they ordered it. My daughter is the youngest one here. Her food should come out first." You could tell the waiter was working hard to restrain himself at this point. He explained it was a first come, first served policy and age didn't help one way or the other. He offered to go check on the potatoes. Ellen agreed, or more specifically she said, "Yeah, you better," but I was clocking him and he went right back to his server station. 3 or 5 more minutes passed, during which we could have no other discussion at the table except how awful this restaurant was, how hungry the poor baby was. Her daughter hadn't said a word about being hungry this whole time and was constantly playing her loud iPad game, without headphones, disturbing all the other diners around us. Ironically, she said that Americans these days were just too selfish and had no respect for motherhood. I chimed in, I'm with you on that last part. And to my utter shock, instead of laughing at my joke, my girlfriend seemed annoyed with me. So after a few minutes the waiter comes back and says the potatoes will be out very soon. That's when Ellen did something I never thought I would see in real life.